Hello and welcome to Africa Today. I am Esther Mokwariola. Days growing into weeks, with parents waiting to hear that the girls are finally rescued. This has nothing to do with the kidnapped schoolgirls in Chibok of 2014, but another set of schoolgirls recently abducted in Dapchi, a town in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria. Amidst the agony of an endless wait, authorities seem to have stalked the trend where they carefully ignore, subtly deny, hurriedly declare, then shamefully retract, ensuring that deja vu returns with history on auto-repeat. And so we ask, what are your thoughts on the recent abduction of schoolgirls by Boko Haram insurgents in Dapchi, northeast Nigeria? You can join the conversation and share your thoughts with us on Twitter at TVC News NG. We take a report now, and Africa Today will continue. Welcome on board.
After the Chibok schoolgirls' abduction by Boko Haram in 2014, Nigeria is grappling with yet another abduction. This time, the stage is the Government Girls Science Technical College, Dapchi, Yobe State. Out of the 926 students, more than 50 are yet unaccounted for. And the state governor has called on the parents of the abducted girls to turn to prayers for their release. In Abuja, the abduction has left a bad taste in the mouth of Nigerians.
Everything that happened 4 years ago, in 50 days is going to be exactly 4 years. 4 years ago is happening right again.
Nothing tangible has been done to address the concerns of the parents as they were right now. All that should have been taken into consideration in an emergency preparedness document. Nothing like that exists.
Adamu questions the Safe School Initiative, a program aimed at improving security in schools following the abduction of the Chibok schoolgirls. The program was launched in May 2014 by former President Goodluck Jonathan in collaboration with the UN Special Envoy for Global Education, Gordon Brown, and a coalition of Nigerian business leaders. He also raises concerns over the presidential initiative on the Northeast.
Now, the objective of those two initiatives is to assist location soft targets in the Northeast to enhance their security. And we know a lot of money was gathered by the Safe School Initiative in particular. Now, what did they do with that money? Till date, I'm aware that several schools in the Northeast that are considered vulnerable don't even have a basic security, such as physical security, like their walls. In some instances, they don't even have any demarcation, delineation of their property. So that kind of vulnerabilities were exploited by the terrorist groups.
He says the Dapchi school abduction indicates the insurgents are looking for money and supplies.
I don't see it as a regrouping or an attempt to indicate that they are still active. It's more for survival. Two things that they were likely looking for: price targets, kidnap these girls and get ransom. And then secondly, from what we had, they raided anything regarding food, medicine that was in that school they collected. So it was more for supplies and then to get money to continue their activities.
The Dapchi schoolgirls' abduction is another indicator of the desperation of the fleeing insurgents.
Dozens of schoolgirls remain missing days after suspected Boko Haram fighters attacked a school in Dapchi, a town of Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, a replica of the 2014 scenario that played out in Chibok, Borno State. Conflicting reports continue to characterize as the Yobe State government have now issued a statement retracting an earlier one that some of the missing girls had been rescued by the military. Joining me in the studio on Africa Today, I have Alester Wilcox, a social commentator and a political analyst. And on Skype, I have Cyril Abaku, Lagos-based journalist and researcher. And on phone, I have Michael Oshoma, our correspondent from Yobe, to give us updates on this issue going on. Thank you very much for you all for being a part of the program. So let me begin with you now, Michael. Give us an update on what the situation is like on ground.
Right now, there is a kind of apprehension in Dapchi. The people are not happy. The community, the residents, and the parents and guardians of these children are not happy. As we speak now, it's a kind of aggressive mood in Dapchi. Because when we visited the community yesterday, we noticed that when the governor was addressing them, when we got there, the parents and guardians were anticipating to receiving their daughters. But when the governor broke the news that actually no girls were actually have been seen yet, the guardians, they burst into tears and they were wailing bitterly. So it's a sober reflection moment in Dapchi as we speak now. And there are some groups right now in the state capital who are agitating for the release of these children.
Now, these girls, we are yet to have an exact number of how many were missing. Any exact figures yet on how many aren't with their parents or are missing generally?
Yeah, we cannot ascertain or verify a specific number, a kind of accurate number that are actually missing. But from the details we had earlier was that we have 926 students who were physically present at the time the attack took place. And during the head count, 3 days after the attack, we had 815. So presently, I spoke with some parents. They told me that their children are gradually returning, but I still feel a large number of them are still at large.
And talking about this incident happened 3 days ago, well, more than 3 days ago, precisely on Monday, but it took for like 3 days for the news to be heard. Why did it take so long? Any reasons behind that?
Well, when we got the news, we got the news on Tuesday evening, but we were not too sure because we got the news from residents in Dapchi. Because it wasn't an official thing, we were skeptical. So we tried to confirm from the authority, the police, the government. Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to give us a response to the attack. So we had the attack, but there was no official report to it. So we went ahead and we went ahead to report that these girls are missing. Not until when the police commissioner spoke to us that truly there was an abduction.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Oshoma, for the updates there from Yobe State. We'll keep a tab on you as developments unfold. Well, now let's look into this matter, holistically now, Lester. We've just heard the reports of schoolgirls, again, kidnapped in their school by insurgents, by Boko Haram. And one would say, should this happen again? We're coming from something that happened 4 years ago, and now we're having this happening all over again. What first came to mind when you saw this report?
Well, thank you very much. It's not, what came to my mind is it's not really it has happened again, but why again? Especially in that environment. And why the girls again? Because sincerely, my whole concept of this whole thing is the fact that I feel the pain of these girls, the trauma that they will have gone through within that period, the time most of them tried to escape. And why were they so vulnerable? Why were their schools left this vulnerable for this to happen? We have incidences. I mean, in Lagos it happened when school children were kidnapped. You see, the resultant effect of criminality in any society can be some of these things that is happening. We just heard of 17 innocent lives in the US being lost through a mad gunman that went to school and started shooting. Many things keep happening. So it's sad. It saddens me that it has happened.
Really, really sad.
Considering the fact that, like you said, we are still to fully resolve the Chibok experience. The Chibok experience is still fresh, and there is still tension in the land concerning return of the remainder of the girls. Now a new set of girls has been kidnapped. So it's for me, it's something of sober reflection rather than some of the kind of reportage that is being given this whole thing. I think there will have been more sober reflection, more
on the part of the government or the part of the people, on the part of everyone?
On the part of everyone.
Okay.
And the reportage that was given to this whole thing was not the type that will have captured successfully the theme of the moment, in order for people to have a balanced mind and a balanced head to attack it. Because really and truly, our security forces are doing quite a lot. Since the advent of this government, that there was a new vista with this war. Our men and women in uniform, they've done so much tremendously so well by putting their own life. A lot of them have lost their life.
Okay.
And in this scenario.
All right, let's hold your thoughts for now.
This is another case
we need to go on a very quick break. We will discuss this when we come back in just a moment. Stay with us. More than 20,000 people have been killed and 2 million others forced to flee their homes in northeastern Nigeria since Boko Haram launched its campaign of violence and brutality in 2009. Emerging realities of insecurity in parts of the country brings to question reports that the deadly sect have been tactically overpowered, technically overridden, and totally defeated. Information Minister Lai Mohammed believes the Dapchi abduction is a ploy by Boko Haram insurgents to embarrass President Muhammadu Buhari's government.
What you must understand is that these are the dying days of Boko Haram. And what they intend to do is to embarrass government. So that's all they intend to do. Their power has gone down completely. They have been pushed out of Sambisa. And they now want, you see, oxygen. Their oxygen is publicity. This is what they are looking for. Something that would grab world attention. But I can tell you that with determination of our gallant officers and men, the days of Boko Haram is almost over. Until students show up or we hear from their parents that they are with them, we cannot say this is the number of students that are left. Give us a few more days, please.
All right, Cyril Abakul is online to give his perspective on this matter. Cyril, what are your thoughts on the statement credited to the Information Minister over there?
Well, I would say that in the first instance, let me join the rest of Nigerians, first of all, to say that we sympathize with people in Dapchi and in Yobe State. But I think that when this sort of things happen, except the minister is being misreported, I would think that if I were to put my shoes in as someone who is perhaps in Dapchi or has his child abducted, I would rather be thinking of something to give me hope. Because what we are hearing the minister say now is an attack on the sect. If at all they carried out, they are behind abduction. But I think that fundamentally, perhaps it may be one of the things to be said, but not the major thing to be said. I think the major thing to be said is that, like Alessa rightly pointed out, when he was speaking earlier, it happened in Borno State, and like you said in your intro, it's like deja vu. Now the question is that how come 4 years after, the same drama is playing itself out exactly the same way it played out 4 years ago? Up to the point where the military came out and said that they had rescued some of the girls. A state government went ahead to make that declaration, then came back a day later to say that they were sorry for misinforming the public. If even the government would be pleading with us to accept the apologies for lying to the public, then I wonder whom we should go to for the real information. I think that it is bad enough that Boko Haram came back to strike, but it is even worse that we don't have quality control mechanisms in place, that an institution as sensitive and as serious as the military will tell a lie about it. And again, the fact that there has been a complete lack of coordination on the part of government, in taking early steps. There are so many conflicting reports. In the first place, it is instructive that if not for the media and if not for maybe pressure from certain quarters, perhaps not non-state quarters, really non-governmental quarters, people we may not even have known that an abduction of this kind never took place. That is sad. And I don't think it is ethically and morally correct.
All right, let's look at the security implications of this now, Cyril. I'm sorry for interrupting there. Let's look at the security implications on a wider scale. We're talking about schoolgirls taken away from their schools without adequate protection, similar to what happened in Chibok, Borno State. Now this is happening. What would you say about the level of security in the Northeast, knowing that it has been grappled with dealing with Boko Haram insurgents, and it had said that it has decimated the group Boko Haram?
No, I think that in the first place, government might have been making some gains against Boko Haram, no doubt about it. I think 2 weeks ago or so, Sheikha came out and said it and complained bitterly about losses he was suffering. But those gains that government is making against Boko Haram do not in any way, for me, come up to a conclusive defeat of the sect. I mean, you will still hear them carry out attacks every now and then, every once in a while. And I think that, in the manner of speaking, whatever ransoms those were, that might have been paid to the sect to secure the release of some of those Chibok girls, might have also perhaps gone into to arm these people. You find that we need to situate this whole matter within the broader perspective of the presidential initiative on the Northeast. Dapchi is close to the Niger Republic. I mean, it's on the border. These people came in, from what community people are saying now, from the reports I get from Dapchi. These people came in and didn't even know where the school was. They had to get locals at gunpoint and had to force them to take them to where the school was. After the abduction, they still had to rely on locals to lead them out of the community. So clearly there was a lot of porousness. I mean, there was a lot of, they had leeway. And I think that, again, this brings to mind a very fundamental issue. I think that somehow there's been a lot of talk about securing weapons and taking loans to buy arms and so on. But I do not know, quite frankly, how much of that, either as an equivalent or as concurrent spending, is going into intelligence gathering. There is a multinational joint task force that is supposed to assist us from Niger to Chad to Nigeria, perhaps to Cameroon, those multilateral corridors that Boko Haram could be using to traverse these nations. All right. But again, I think this abduction coming at this time points to failures on a number of fronts. Okay. And I think that it will pay us better, it will pay us more if government sat back to do some stock taking and comes out with something better, something more acceptable. Not when government bodies, the military, state governments, the federal government, they are saying three different things at the same time. All right,
point taken there, Cyril. Let me quickly get the thoughts of Alessa on this matter. Let's still look at another issue now pertaining to the security implication now, because we know for some time that this kidnap system or this abduction system normally comes with a ransom. If you take a cue of what happened in, the abduction of the Chibok girls, we had to see the Boko Haram negotiating with the federal government to release some of these girls for some, prisoners that the federal government had of Boko Haram prisoners. That is, now that this is being done, taking more girls again for probably exchange of more prisoners, are we seeing more of the Boko Haram itself trying to gain its strength when we say we're trying to decimate the group and now they're trying to get themselves back again and threaten the territorial sovereignty of the country? I
think for me, insurgency war is not easily totally or completely wiped out. We have cases in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all whatnot. I remember in 2003, after the invasion of Iraq, on the capture of Saddam Hussein, George Bush declared victory on the war in Iraq. But of course, that war took more than another 10, 15 years. Up till now, they are not yet through. Due to Afghanistan, early this year, there was a heavy bomb blast by the Taliban in one luxury hotel, one first-class hotel So, what am I trying to say? Insurgency war is always an ongoing thing. That does not in any way diminish the efforts, the strong effort or the gains, strong gain, I'll call them strong gain. Okay. Because I tell you, the rollback of Boko Haram from where they were in 2015, I can't remember if there was been a bomb blast by Boko Haram in Abuja or any other city apart from being confined within Maiduguri and all that. This is the first time that there is an attack outside Borno State. in a very long time.
But
so,
shouldn't we rather be concerned that this growing strength
Yes,
of Boko Haram
yes,
might threaten our territorial integrity?
As it is, because anything that has to do with this kind of war, it cannot be totally wiped out. So there's always that threat. That threat is always there, and it will continue to be there for a very long time. So if we are thinking 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we might be mistaken. That is why, as I mean, Cyril talked about the new investment of about $1 billion and all whatnot that is being, look, so it's a continuous war, just like kidnapping, just like armed robbery, just whatever crime it is. But this one is even a ideological war that cannot go out. But they have been so degraded now, like the minister said, which I want to align with him. It's like looking for oxygen, because I don't know where that area is, but from what Cyril has just said, it's a place that even the people sent to go and pick up these girls not even know. And so it discovered that it is just things that, unfortunately, the government were slack. Because I expected that any schools of this nature that is closer to border communities that have girls as their, because that is the soft target, that have girls as their students, should have some level of defense and protection. And it is also incumbent on the natives. I don't know what they were doing. If the people has to use the native to go and know where the school is. This whole country has cell phones. Everybody should have, I'm sure they people that have cell phone that could have even alert people and do something rather than just being held like sitting duck. But sincerely speaking, I'm very, very emotionally talking about this issue. I wish I'm talking about this issue in the situation whereby all the girls have been rescued and then we begin to look at the post-mortem of what has happened. But right now that this issue is fresh and these innocent girls are in the hands of those dreaded criminals and monsters that as at now you don't even know what's happened to them.
I'm talking about these girls again. You know, it took a long while for us to get the Chibok girls back united to their parents. Yes. You know, knowing the gruel, the harrowing effect it caused the parents, traumatizing and all. Yes. Now we're going to this road once again. What is the hope that these girls will be reunited in their parents in due time? Yes. Even though we do not have any period
I'm very optimistic. Yes, it has the resemblance of Chibok, but the response time in this time around is faster out of Chibok.
Really?
It took 18 days for even there to be an admission or an acceptance of an incident in Chibok. This happened on Monday, and by then Monday or Tuesday, there is already efforts effort being deployed to the whole thing. So there is that time, the luxury of time that the abductors of Chibok girls had. This is not there because there's not pressure. And right now, to our Air Force, our military, they are more equipped, they are better motivated. The Air Force is doing quite a lot of jobs. And so I'm believing that this will not take that of Chibok. I want to be on the side of positivity, that this will not take like Chibok.
But the parents do not seem to have any hope.
I understand. No, you see, right now, I think some of this reportage that we are having to the discussion should be directed towards the parents on how to psychologically bring them down. Because some of the, like I said, some of the reportage, people think they are trying to spy the government. Citizens, we think we are trying to spy the government. Or APC, we keep hearing APC publicity, APC press statement. We think we are trying to spy the government. But of course, the governor's child is not, it's not kidnapped. So it is the parents that have, so our reportage, all our efforts should be towards them, how to bring their mind and emotions down. And the Commissioner of Police did something very, very spectacular. And I think I want to commend him. Because we got more information. Immediately the Aero count was done. Okay. And discovered that they had about 100 and something. And some start coming back. So what we're talking about now, plus or minus, is about 60 or thereabout, which is a very large number.
Okay, so we should be hopeful that the girls will be found.
They should, our men in uniform that are doing a fantastic job. All this while, they should intensify effort, put all their snell into use, the Air Force and able to comb their surrounding and be able to use that would not have a Chibok express.
All right, thank you very much, Lester Wilcox, for your insights and contributions on the show. We really thank you very much as well.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Cyril Abako, who gave his own insights earlier in the show. Thank you, Cyril. And our correspondent from Yobe State, Michael Oshoma. Thank you all very much for all your contributions on Africa Today. Now, it feels very much like Nigerians have been here before and haven't failed to learn from the past. One of the most distasteful security crises in recent years is repeating itself. While Nigeria is yet to fully recover from the Chibok nightmare, how government decides to address the Dapchi abduction could end up becoming a game changer in the fight against insurgency. And that is our package for today, but don't forget to join the conversation as usual on Twitter at TVC News NG and follow me for updates around Africa at Esther TVC News. Until the next one, I am Esther Mokwariola, and always remember, this is Africa. Bye for now.